Thanks for joining us today for this webinar called Creating Cross-Device Experiences. My name is Sasha Butkovich, and I'm the Communications Marketing Manager here at Corra. We're a digital commerce agency creating unified commerce experiences for fashion, lifestyle, and beauty brands. And one really important concern for these brands and merchants of all kinds is optimization. So to cover some of these topics, we created our 4-part optimization webinar series. Today's webinar is part 4, the final part of the series, and it's presented by Van Schlichting, Corra's SEO and optimization practice lead. Van's background is on the client side of e-commerce, where he spent 15 years working in a wide range of industries from electronics to sporting goods and fashion, and he's been responsible for launching extensive testing programs on platforms such as Adobe Target and Monetate. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Van to get things started.
Thanks, Sasha. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about creating optimization experiences across desktop, tablet, and mobile platforms. We'll go over why a consistent experience is important, how people interact on different devices, key considerations for cross-device testing, and how we gauge success in those campaigns. So first I'd like to cover how we define a testing experience at Corra. An experience is a set of variables along a specific intended path that includes an invitation, an interaction, and a completion. It's important to consider the entire path when testing because interactions and decisions made earlier in the visit can affect later decisions. The invitation is the first entry point, such as a banner, a link on the site, or an email. The interaction is the specific area that you're testing. It might be a PDP, maybe you're testing a component of a builder or some kind of configurator, or really any kind of index or content page. The completion is the goal of the experience. Most often conversion, but not always, and this is always our primary success metric for the campaign. So this overall is kind of a definition of how we define an experience in the context of testing. So for consistency, we all know that desktop is no longer the dominant mode of viewing websites, and in some cases it's actually a minority of traffic. We've seen some mobile traffic in the area of 80 to 90% on sites, where desktop is a very small minority of the traffic. With more users interacting via multiple disparate devices, being able to run cohesive test experiences is obviously very important. The expectation is that every feature be available on devices ranging from a compact smartphone all the way up to 40+ inch displays. When creating new design and functionality tests, both UI designers and optimization managers really have their work cut out for them. It's a big challenge to try to pack all the same features into a smartphone as it is into a desktop. So before I talk about how to create a consistent experience, I want to note that not every experience can translate well. While we can give the user the same features, measuring success has to be considered with an understanding of the UI. Anyone in design will understand the challenge of squeezing features into small real estate. Complex builders are a great example. Go to any auto manufacturer site on a small or just regular smartphone, and you'll be tapping a lot, swiping a lot, just to get through all the options to purchase on a car. Kit landing pages are another example of this. If you're trying to show a kit that has multiple components, say like 12 components, showing that on a phone is always a big challenge. To try to make sure you're replicating the same experience. A reverse example of this is the number of interactions on product end caps. On mobile, this is done with a swipe, so people look at that product offer and they swipe left or right, while most desktop UIs require a more precise click. If you track carousel swipes versus clicks, you may see mobile has a distinct edge, probably because a swipe's an easier activity to do. And so as a result, end caps are viewed at a much higher rate on mobile just because of that ease of interaction. So it's important to consider the differences and ask yourself whether this campaign should be across those multiple platforms. So when building a good cross-platform experience, we should think about the available real estate changes and the demands on the user. The number of clicks or taps can be considerably different from desktop to mobile. The time spent absorbing the options on the page can be different as well, because sometimes those details are not actually surfaced right on the visible page on mobile. You know, tap to read more and that kind of thing. Detail and imagery may require a bigger percentage of the screen be used for things like media and photos and things like that. These are important points to talk about with the designers because the goal is to more closely align the interaction points between desktop and mobile. Because the more you do that, the more you can draw conclusions across both of those platforms. If the experience is not somewhat similar in terms of the number of interactions, then you're not always going to get really useful results, because you're actually testing two different things, even though it's part of the same campaign. In addition to the interactions, we may also want to think about how your customers use each device. This is particularly true of B2B businesses, which tend to see a lot of catalog lookup behavior on mobile. For example, a business user might use a tablet or phone to look up parts, but never actually check out. Similarly, if you sell consumable products, this typically changes the way people use the cart on mobile, because you may see they may use the convenience of a mobile device to kind of note down what they want to purchase, and then again purchase it later on desktop. We want to make it, every feature as usable as possible, but the preferences and the preconceived notions of the users can dictate whether it's a central feature or not. So one of the key things that you want to ask yourself if you're testing an experience is this really going to be as useful on mobile as it is on desktop, or vice versa. So now that we know where to begin for kind of making a new experience and kind of what to measure, the next task is measuring success. To do this, we need to make sure that we are comparing results to the right metric. Looking at mobile, desktop, tablet conversion metrics for other page types is helpful for determining where your test should be in terms of its success. For example, if you're testing a landing page, you can draw some conclusions about where mobile should be based upon how it does on PDPs or other mobile landing pages, or even the home page. You can draw those comparisons because you're comparing that homepage experience to the desktop homepage experience and figuring out the variance between the two. If the experience is complex, it might also be helpful to look at conversions in terms of clicks or taps. If a mobile experience requires 40% more taps than desktop, then that's obviously likely to be expressed in the test data. When setting up tracking metrics, tagging individual buttons and call to actions along the path will help you determine the roadblocks on mobile. So a typical mobile test that we run at Corra, probably we tag maybe 15 to 20 individual interaction points, and those are looked at alongside the result data to determine where's the hurdles, where's the part where we're seeing a fall off in those mobile users. So I hope some of my suggestions help you have helped you to begin looking at building better cross-platform experiences. If you have any additional follow-up questions, please feel free to pose them to hello@corra.com. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks so much, Van. This has been a really fun series. We hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. And once again, hello@corra.com for any questions. Take care, guys.